We all hear about how fast Flutter is, but let's be real. Even our best apps can start to feel, well, kind of sluggish over time. But here's the good news. It's probably not Flutter's fault. It's usually something we're doing in our code. And that's exactly what we're going to tear down and fix today.
So, have you ever been there? You're building an app, it's feeling great, but then, as you add more features, the animations start to get a little choppy? That buttery smooth scroll you were so proud of? Yeah, it's not so buttery anymore. If that hits a little too close to home, don't worry, you are definitely not alone. We're about to dig into exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how to stop it.
Okay, so here's the game plan for our little diagnostic journey. First, we'll pinpoint the symptoms of a slow app. Then we'll play detective and uncover the #1 root cause, rebuilds. After that, it's all about solutions. We'll hit some quick wins, get into smarter state management, and I'll show you the tools to actually measure this stuff. And we'll wrap it all up with what I think is the most important piece, getting into a true performance mindset.
All right, so before we can fix a slow app, we got to ask ourselves, what does a fast app even look like? What's the goal we're shooting for?
A truly healthy app, a performant app, it just nails all these things. You've got those silky smooth animations, right? We're talking a solid 60 frames per second minimum. The UI feels snappy, like it's responding the instant you touch it. It's using memory efficiently, not hogging the whole device. And here's the big one. It's not wasting time rebuilding parts of the screen that haven't even changed. If you drop the ball on any of these, believe me, the user feels it. The whole experience just starts to degrade.
Okay, so where does the train actually go off the rails? Now, while there can be a bunch of little things, there's usually one big culprit behind most performance problems in Flutter. Let's get right to the heart of it.
And here it is. This is the big one. The most common performance mistake we all make is rebuilding way too many widgets way too often. I'm talking about those times when one tiny little piece of data changes and it causes this massive cascade, forcing huge chunks of your UI to redraw themselves again and again and again. So to really get why this is such a problem, we have to talk about Flutter's secret sauce, its reactive rendering system. Basically, when some state in your app changes, a counter ticks up, a username gets updated, Flutter is smart enough to automatically rebuild the UI that depends on that state. It's what makes Flutter so powerful. But, and this is a big but, it's like a superpower that can backfire if you're not careful. So think of it like this super simple cycle. Step 1, some state changes. Step 2, Flutter looks at its blueprint, the widget tree, and rebuilds what it needs to. And step 3, those new changes get painted onto the screen. The whole key to performance? Making sure that step 2 is as tiny and as efficient as humanly possible.
And this slide just nails the difference. It's like two different worlds. On the one hand, you've got the inefficient way. You tap a like button, and boom, the entire screen rebuilds. Total overkill. But on the other hand, the efficient way. You tap that same button, and only the little heart icon on the number next to it get rebuilt. Surgical. Our goal, always, is to live in that second world. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's crack open the Performance First Aid Kit and look at a few super simple, high-impact changes you can make. Like, right now.
Seriously, this might be your new favorite keyword, const. It's like a secret weapon for performance. All it does is tell Flutter, hey, this widget and everything inside of it, it's never ever going to change. It's constant. So many of us just forget to use it, but it is hands down one of the easiest performance wins you will ever find. And this is why it's so powerful. When Flutter is doing a rebuild and it bumps into a const widget, it just skips it. It says, I don't need to rebuild this, I can just reuse the old one. What does that mean for you? Fewer rebuilds, less work for the CPU, and less memory being used. It's a win-win-win. Okay, next up, a classic performance trap, showing long lists of stuff. We've all done it, right? You get a big list of data, you throw it in a column, and you just map it out. The problem is, you're building every single item at once, even the hundreds of items that are off-screen. No. Instead, you've got to use builders, like listview.builder. Why? Because they're lazy. In a good way. They only build the items that are actually visible on the screen right now. This makes a world of difference for your scroll performance. All right, so those quick fixes are awesome for some immediate relief. But if we want our app to be healthy in the long run, we have to go deeper. We have to talk about architecture and specifically how we're managing state.
Let me be blunt. Poor state management is a one-way ticket to performance hell. When your state logic is all tangled up with your UI, you are absolutely 100% guaranteed to be rebuilding widgets that have no business changing.
And this slide right here is absolutely key. So a really common mistake, especially when you're starting out, is calling set state way up high in your widget tree. That's like using a wrecking ball to knock in a thumbtack. It just rebuilds everything below it, whether it needs it or not. The smarter way? Use a state management tool, think Provider, Riverpod, Block, whatever you like, to deliver those state changes with surgical precision, only to the specific widgets that actually care about that piece of data.
So, we've talked about the causes and the cures. But how do you actually find these performance bottlenecks in your app? The answer is super simple. You stop guessing and you start measuring.
I love this quote. It should be a mantra for every developer. You absolutely cannot optimize what you don't measure. You can't fix a problem you can't even see. Just running your app and going, it feels a little janky here, that's not a strategy. You need cold, hard data. And thankfully, Flutter gives us some incredible tools to get that data.
Okay, here's your performance debugging arsenal. First up, Flutter DevTools. This thing is a beast. You can inspect your widget tree, see exactly which widgets are rebuilding in real time, and analyze performance down to the millisecond. Then you've got the performance overlay. This puts a little graph right inside your app while it's running, so you can literally watch for dropped frames as they happen. Seriously, learn to use these tools. They will take you right to the scene of the crime.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground, from symptoms and causes to tools and fixes. But the single most important change you can make isn't in your code at all. It's in your head. It's about developing a performance-first mindset. In this quote, this brings it all home. Look, Flutter is blazing fast right out of the box. So when your app starts to feel slow, 99% of the time, the problem isn't the framework. It's us. It's our architectural choices. How you decide to structure your widgets, how you manage your state, that is what will make or break your app's performance. And that leads us to the ultimate takeaway here. Performance is not a nice to have. It's not something you sprinkle on at the end of a project like some kind of magic dust. It is a core feature, every bit as important as that beautiful UI you designed or the critical business logic. Because at the end of the day, a slow app is a broken app, period. I don't care how pretty it is.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. On your next project, or the one you're working on right now, don't just build it to work. Build it to be fast. Build it to be efficient. Build it to be an absolute delight to use right from the very first line of code. Because that, right there, is the difference between a good Flutter app and a truly great one.